This is Daybreak reaching you live from the nation's capital. Now, a coalition of private sector players with support from the Central Bank of Nigeria has raised 100 billion naira to support the security agencies in the fight against insecurity in Nigeria. The chairman of Heirs Holding and the United Bank for Africa Group, Mr. Tony Elumelu, said the group had revved up its interventions in other sectors and would now intervene in providing security hardware to the security agencies in the country. Now, joining us in the studio to talk about this is Stephen Okori. He's a security consultant, and he'll be talking to us about the impact of this move on our fight against insecurity. Good morning and welcome to Daybreak.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
When this donation, was made, the question that a lot of people ask is how much, impact can this money make?
Yeah. If you recall, some time ago that I was here in your studio, I said security anywhere in the world is not cheap. Mm-hmm. So it means that it's a sector that really requires funds to see how to drive the sector, to see how citizens are protected and property as well are also protected. So when I got that information about the private sector donating 100 billion into for security in the country, I saw it as a very thoughtful idea for them to see how to come together and put such amount of money together to see how to donate to the country. But I think it goes beyond that. It's not just about donating the funds or giving security agencies the funds. It's about, for me, putting a monitoring system or mechanism in place. That's on the part of the private sector now, the people that are putting the money together, the companies, to see how to monitor and really see that the reason why they are putting the funds together to purchase such hardwares and all that are truly accomplished. So, we keep hearing about stories how funds are being diverted by these security agencies. So for these monies that is coming from the private sector, I think it behoves on them to see how to properly follow up on the channel and how it's being distributed or disbursed.
Now, in what specific areas, would you say that we need to be, I would say, put this to use? There are so many things in the budgets of the defense, for instance. You have personnel costs, the running costs and all that, and then also capital expenditure, but, apparently we need more. We need to see more in the spending of capital expenditure, isn't it?
Yes.
In this sense, how much can this do in the acquiring of military hardware and the rest of them?
For me, I think the way to go, it's technology. If the bulk part of the money can be put into how to provide technology in fighting insecurity, because there's a lot that technology does now, so I think that they should look out for sophisticated, more modern technology to see how to fight these insecurity issues that we are having, and try to see how to boost the morals of the personnel that are in the battlefield. A lot is said about them not being motivated, and the area of training and retraining of personnel too is also cause for concern, because if you look at it, they will tell you that they have these gadgets or equipment, but for me, if we have them, how well are our people or the personnel experienced to see how to operate this technology or the gadgets we are talking about? So I think for me, there's need for training and retraining for them to truly be acquainted with how to go about this operating these gadgets.
All right, now
Now, with this donation,
yes.
Many would say it looks like the private sector has quite a lot to offer.
Yes, you see, they have quite a lot to offer, because if we have an unstable society, You know, the private sector are businessmen or women. If you ask me, they are businessmen. So for their businesses to thrive, without hindrance, we need to have a stable economy or a stable society where the number of threats and risks are reduced drastically. For instance, if you look at the Global Peace Index, Nigeria is ranked 146th position out of 163 nations that are there, And if you look at the Global Terrorism Index, Nigeria is ranked number 3, in the world. So these things scare foreign investors, and you see the private sector, they need foreign investors, or foreign partners to even come into the country to see how to boost their businesses, And of course, that threats, of course, affects businesses, no matter how small, And we are talking about people that have national and international corporations, companies in the country here. So the idea for them is to see how to have a relatively peaceful country where if they go to war, investors or foreign partners to come to partner with them, they won't have this fear. But by the time these foreign partners begin to go globally to look at what is happening in Nigeria, they become scared of coming to the country. So I think they are trying to see how to put these funds together to see how the bottom line is that it's for their own interest. That's basically it's for their interest. Yeah, of course.
In some way it is, and the generality of Nigerians.
Of course, yes,
really.
yes.
Now, again, the military is not the only, the bulk is, they take care of the bulk of the issues when it comes to security. But again, they are not alone in the fight. They are also working with civilians. For instance, we have the civilian JTF, for instance, and then you have other vigilantes, spread across the country. How can they also benefit from some of these interventions, by private sector? Because if you look at the way some of them operate, it's very, very crude, in the sense that some of them do not even have vehicles that they can move around. Yes, we've seen efforts by some governments, but again, they need more, isn't it? So how can they also, take part in some of these kind of interventions?
Security is everybody's responsibility, both formal and informal. We want to categorize the vigilante or the civilian JTF under an informal arrangement and try to see how to curb security issues or challenges. So if the formal agencies like the military and the police synergize with the informal, such as the vigilante or the civilian JTF, I think it will go a long way to see how to bring results on board. So in disbursing the funds, the necessary agencies that will partake in doing that, for the vigilante as well to be part of the funds that they are trying to bring on board, they need to look at it on how to go about it, because whether we like it or not, the civilian JTF or the vigilantes are really putting certain things on the front burner in the area of trying to fight insecurity in this country. So it's for them to see how to bring them on board as well, to see how to synergize, because they need to be equipped very well, And you see, these challenges are there. And when you begin to look at the Constitution, there's no way, you can't find anything that will benefit or make them stand on their own, as the vigilante groups now. So I have said times without number that there's need for the government to see how to put certain laws in place that would fit in or bring on board vigilante so that they can as well complement the efforts of the former security agencies.
Okay. Now, how important, is synergy between the private sector, and the federal government in driving the nation's economy?
You see, when it has to do with the economy or security, the private sector is naturally a key player in terms of trying to see how to boost the economy and security. You agree with me that there's a linkage between the economy and security.
Right.
If we have a stable economy, if the economy is thriving, of course you agree with me that there will be less insecurity challenges, And if security is doing what they are supposed to do, as in if they are performing optimally, of course, the economy will boom, and there will be opportunities for job creations and employments and all that. So the two, economy and security, are symbiotic, in nature, because the two must work together for us to have a stable economy. And anywhere in the world, economy, as it concerns a country, has to do with trying to see how to balance a system where crime is reduced, and it takes the collaboration and cooperation of the private sector with the federal government to see how to achieve that. So from your introduction, you discovered that even during the COVID era or period, the same private sector supported the federal government by bringing some funds to support intervention for citizens of the country. But the question is how far and where did those funds go?
Again, one tend to think about, how, individuals can also make contributions. Now, yes, this is, alliance for private sector alliance.
Yes.
But there are some well-meaning Nigerians, individuals, who really look forward to the end of insecurity in the country, and perhaps as willing to make contributions, towards this fight against insecurity. They are not big companies, they are not big names, but they have their widow's mite that they want to contribute, to this. Do we have a channel? Do we have like a system that can enable, this group of people make their own contributions?
I think what you have said is a very lofty idea. I don't think I have any idea where information where private people go to donate to the government to see how to fight these insecurity challenges we are talking about. If there's none, I think there's need for the government to see how to bring such an idea or policy on board for people to come and see how to put in one or two of their widow's mite to see how to curb or combat these challenges we are talking about. So it's not a bad idea at all. And if there's nothing like that, I don't think I have any idea, apart from the private sector trying to put certain funds together, in the area of corporate social responsibility to see how to do what they are trying to do. So if individuals with that as individuals that want to go into such, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's a way of contributing for the development and the security of our country.
Now, if you look at this, politically and then economically as well.
Yeah.
They say that mostly when you give, you're expected to get something in return.
Yeah.
It's almost natural instinct.
Yes.
And in most cases we hear the concept about, the piper dictates the tune and all of that. So while we see donations, from the private quarters, are there likelihoods of, some kind of people try to influence our institutions because they've made donations and contributions?
In the area of security, I don't think it will augur well if they donate and they want to come and try and see how to detect what happens within the security sector or circle. They have donated, yes. The only thing I think that they can ask for is that the amount, these funds that they are bringing on board should be judiciously used for the purpose why they are bringing it. It's not for them to come and begin to detect how it should happen or how it should go, So I think that it's for them to sit, the panel from the private sector should sit with the government panel. Okay, this is what we think are the issues. So these funds we are trying to bring on board, if we take a major part of it into buying or putting them into technology, to fight these challenges, we think that we can achieve results with that. So it's a discussion, So it's for them to see that the monies are used properly, but not coming to detect what the head of the army or the navy or the air force should do. I think they don't have their powers.
All right. Now, there's this shocking story also that is, literally everywhere on our papers this morning about the DCP Abba Kyari. I mean, this was a man who has been held in high esteem, you know, not just by Nigerians, but even government. I mean, honors, you know, conferred on him by lawmakers, you know, by government and all of that. And then, boom, this is what we see. I mean, a lot of questions, really, for me, that, you know, need some answers. What does this say about the system that we run in terms of, you know, due diligence when it comes to investigation?
I want to start by saying that when I saw the breaking news yesterday about the DCP, the suspended DCP Abba Kyari, his involvement in a drug-related issue, I want to say I was perturbed. I was disappointed, you know, looking at a man that has risen to the level where he got a presidential medal for courage in 2016. A man that the National Assembly, specifically the House of Reps, called him and honored him, you know, for protecting lives of citizens of this country. And such a man is involved in what we saw yesterday on TV. And even in the video that is trending. I'm going to dwell on the issues I saw and I read, you know. He's been arrested and handed over to the NDLA. We'll wait for the defense that he wants to put on board. But for me, it has tarnished the national image of the national police of Nigeria, because it has given the FBI a justification for the investigation that they carried out during the hush puppy issue and the revelations that they brought on board for the public to see. So now, I think it's a very terrible situation where senior police officers that are supposed to see how to enforce laws and order in this country, arrest criminals and do all that.
And the ones they are now...
They are the ones involved in what we are talking about. So it takes us to the point where we begin to ask if there is hope.
You know, I really want to say many would agree that he didn't see this coming, because that video actually looks very, very recent.
Yes. If you look at the video very well, you see that the date on it, and even the date and the time, some minutes past 5 p.m., either on the 25th or 26th of January, you see it. Even with the face masks and all that, you know that the video is very recent, you know. And if you look at it, you see that the NDLA officer's image was censored, you know. But because he is directly involved, and they said he's a principal actor, they don't censor his own face, if you look at it. You understand? So they are trying to let the world know that this is the man that they are talking about, and he's truly him.
I mean, if you say it's truly him, I mean, what's the likelihood of getting anything out of this? I mean, we've seen the Gandola saga also, you know, in video, you know, evidence like this,
exactly,
you know, that everyone saw. It was on social media everywhere. Yes. But at the end of the day, nothing came out of it. It was just shelved and, you know, put somewhere under the carpet and all of that.
Perhaps because
again, you know, the implication of all of this on public confidence, on the institutions of government, you know, our police, our NDLA itself, because I'm sure that Abba Kyari is not alone in this.
At all.
There are even some NDLA officials,
this is a cartel,
customs officials, even, you know, even military officials, you know, that are engaged in some of these things. I've personally had to interact with some of the, I would say, enablers. I would call them enablers of smuggling. And I got to understand that they have the backing of some security officials.
Obviously.
You know, for doing what they are doing.
Exactly.
So the implication of this on public confidence as to what do we even, who do we believe, you know, in a country like this where we see this happen?
You see, my brother, Nigeria's situation, I don't know. Each time you look at things like this, they will tell you that it's the Nigerian factor. X, Y, Z, I don't know. It's very pathetic for us to find ourselves in this situation. It's a national disgrace. A lot of them are compromising. We have a lot of bad eggs in the system. We're just seeing his own. There are a lot of them that are doing it and they are going scot-free. They compromise. Imagine that we have in this country over 1,000 routes that smugglers bring in small arms and light and ammunition into this country, unchecked, unpoliced. What are we talking about? They compromise. The customs are there, the immigrations are there. They even this Abba Kyari's situation or saga, NDLA officers also compromised. The ones that are working in the airport, in the Alkanobian International Airport there, they compromised. They were almost, the couriers, they were almost getting out of it, going with it. Before
Could this be part of the reasons why maybe we are not seeing an end to insecurity in the country?
Exactly. We have bad eggs. And it takes us to the point where due diligence is not even done. Background check, proper background checks are not done. Even if they are in service, there's nothing wrong with you trailing, investigating them, you know, secretly to know, because the way and manner they even spend monies that is not supposed to, you know, when a deputy commissioner of police, for example, you know how much he earns per month, and you know, and all that. Yes. So if he spends way above his budget, you know, you should begin to ask questions.
Yeah. All right, now let's get other perspectives. We have joining us. Okay, well, we are anticipating former police commissioner in the FCT, Mr. Lawrence Alobi, to join us virtually. Before, while we wait, you know, for that to happen, let's just continue on your thoughts.
So, they should look at it. If they are spending way above their budget, you know, but do we do that? Rather, we even celebrate them when they spend above their budget or their means of earnings, you know. So, these are the issues. We don't check, and a lot of them compromise.
And if you look at also the network of you know, friends, yes, that you know Abba Kyari has been identified with.
Yes.
For instance, I mean, Obi Kubana is one of them.
Yes.
And Hush Puppy is, yes, one of the people that he's been identified with. And one wonders, I mean, is it part of the maybe strategy, you know, as a detective, you know, to mingle so that you can identify, you know, some of the criminals, or merely it's just, you know, it tells a lot about, you know, the person that you are really in the real sense?
I think that those people that he mingles with are just his friends, because there's no information in respect to the reason why he's friends with them, you know. Perhaps as certain things are unveiling now, maybe as time goes on, certain things will still come out for us to see or know why he's friends with such people, you know. But when you bring the likes of Obi Kubana's matter on board, people begin to say he's a business person and all that. But you see, what we do behind, we don't know. A lot of us don't know what they do behind, you know. You see somebody that is 40 years old, is already a multi-billionaire.
You know, Obi Kubana have been actually linked with drug trafficking, you know, and all of that. I think that's why you're asking this question.
Yes, he was invited.
He was invited. Even the EFCC too invited him some time ago, you know. So, my brother, if you don't want the oil in the kitchen to stain your shirt or your whatever, you don't go close to the kitchen. You understand? So when certain revelations are coming up like this, you are being invited by EFCC, you are being invited by NDLA, then there's something somewhere. Because we have over 200 million Nigerians. So why are they not inviting me? Why are they not inviting you? It means that you are going close to the kitchen.
And the oil is going to
and the oil is trying to, yeah. So that's it.
Yes.
So why are they not inviting other Nigerians? Then it means they are doing something that is fishy, you know. So for me, I want to commend the NDLA under the leadership of General Buba Marwa, because the moment he came on board, I felt something was going to change about NDLA, because I was following his incidents and his activities at the NDLA, and I see tremendous seizures of drugs in cash and exhibits and all that.
Yes, and you know, the arrest of Abba Kyari also brings to bear another, class of suspects. So I would say people involved with drug dealing in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It appears that we have some very high-profile people,
of course,
in this drug business.
Obviously.
And some of them, they go away with it. And some are now being apprehended and all of that. So how much more can we do to be able to, trace some of these persons? Because in most cases, you find that it's a cartel, and it's often very difficult to even identify the real people involved, because there's a whole chain that, you connect to this, you catch this, and then this person tells you, no, it's this, and all that, and all that,
I want to believe that the way the current leadership of the NDLA is going, they will get to some of these people we are talking about. I don't think Abba Kyari is doing that on his own. Perhaps he's doing it on behalf of a strong drug person somewhere, that has pushed him to go for whatever he's doing at the moment, So the way I strongly believe that there will be more revelations from this investigation that NDLA is trying to carry out with the likes of Abba Kyari and his other team members that they have arrested, because the information got to him that XYZ number of cocaine is somewhere, let us take out this and do. So I believe that there will be more revelations to that, in that regard.
Okay.
So as time goes on, there won't be scapegoats anywhere, because the way I'm looking at General Marwa, whoever is involved in this, must be brought to book. And for me, it's important that they publish names of people that are involved in this thing, so that Nigerians will know, no matter how highly placed you are. Because we have a lot of bad Nigerians. I'm sorry to say, but we have a lot of bad Nigerians.
Okay. Already you agree with me that the Nigerian police is already struggling because it has image problem.
Of course. Yeah.
And with this revelation, it looks like it's going to take a very, very long time, to bring back that image that the police has.
Nigerian police, just the way you said, they have image problem. A bad one for that. And also, they don't have this trust between the Nigerian police and the citizens. There's a deficit in it, So they are trying to see how to bring back their image in a good light and try to build that trust between them and the citizens of this country. But where are they now in all of this? Well, they have gone back to ground zero, if you ask me. Because it takes a whole lot for the citizens of this country to trust a Nigerian police. If you are an informant and you take an information to the Nigerian police, tomorrow the person that you have gone to tell the Nigerian police about will get to know that it was you that came to tell them. So there's this trust deficit between the citizens and the police. Why? It's because of the bad eggs that they have in the police.
Now, if you take a look at some of these transactions, there is a common denominator, the use of dollars, hard currency in some of these transactions.
Yes.
How can banks help with investigations, so that we can also see where those dollars are going, in the fight in the fight against corruption and even drug dealing, and the rest of them? Because I recall the gun dollar case as well. So, just on the side, maybe there are other ways we should begin to look at this hard currency thing. It looks like it's a currency that has been used, for very, very high-profile criminal, engagements.
For me, it will be difficult to trace such move if you want to begin to look at it, except if you go to obtain the dollars from the central bank, for instance, then they can be marked. With that, it can be traced. But one will have this, what do you call them now? This change people, you can go there and obtain the dollars. They are in business. If you bring the naira, they are ready to give you the dollars. So, and you know, of course, it's very easy to carry. Imagine the 35 million naira in an envelope. You know, that's about $61,000 in an envelope.
It makes it easy to
How
carry.
about making it electronic? You know, the dollar circulation itself, strictly electronic, you know, by between the central bank and whoever, you know, wants to do business.
It means you want to take certain people out of business. Especially the northerners that are into this business. You want to take them out.
I mean, that's already happening, isn't
How many
it?
of them are? How many of them will gladly go into electronic transaction when it has to do with the business they are doing? You know, so for me, I think it will be.
But it's something that the CBN can do, isn't it? Already we are seeing them making some kind of policies. First, it end the issuance of dollars to BDCs, and now to banks. They've ended that too. So maybe it's a matter of just policy by central bank. I'm just thinking aloud.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. But it's a way of trying to see how to curb these challenges we are talking about. But how far can it go? You know, that's the problem. You see, it's not about bringing these policies on board. It's about implementing the policies. You know, we have a lot of policies that are there that we're not even implementing. Hope you're aware of that. So, if they try, they should try. They would look at it and see that the policy that they are trying to bring should be a friendly kind of policy that will not affect. Because if you bring some kind of policies on board and you take a lot of people out of their business, you know the consequences there. Because these people have families that they are taking care of and all that. So, if you take them out of business, I think that crime will begin to increase. But I think that the proper thing to do is to see how to monitor. You know, if these BDC operators go to obtain dollars, you know, there should be proper check. How much are you taking? You know, your address, and most of them don't even have address. So if you give dollars to BDCs, they just go away with it, provided you have exchanged the necessary thing that you're supposed to do with them, but they go about their normal business.
Okay. Now, with this case now on the surface, many people want to see, you know, a trial happen and subsequently see where the case goes.
Yeah.
With the way things are going, where do you see this heading? Do you see a trial coming up really soon?
In the case of Abba Kyari? I hope the trial will commence very soon. You understand? But you know the problem with our judicial system. You know, if you see the case in the Kano Hanifa's case. The guy in question openly confessed how he did it and everything and how he went about it. He appeared in court some 2 days ago or so. What did he say? He said he wasn't guilty.
You know, a lot of people said his lawyer picked holes in our weak judicial system, and that prompted him to actually
to say that.
Say such.
Yes. So, exactly. You see, even in the case of Evans, he first agreed that he kidnapped and did all that. But the moment he appeared in court, he even said in court that he was guilty. But when he went back to prison, the next time he was appearing before the judge, he said he wasn't guilty. And it has been dragging there in the last 4 or 5 years. You know. So these are the issues. The judicial system, there is need for an improvement in the judicial system for quick dispensation, you know, so that whoever is guilty, they should charge. Look at for instance, there was this case of a lady that brutalized a little boy in Akure that used a razor blade to cut the boy's body. You see, the boy's intestine was almost coming out. This thing happened last week or so. But as of yesterday, the magistrate had sentenced the woman to four and a half years in prison. So you see how quick that was, you know. So we should expect something like that. But when the evidence are glaring,
yes. But you know, in this case, the issue of the judiciary is on the one hand. Again, the issue of prosecutors is also another issue.
Yeah.
Often issues about, you know, investigation, due diligence in terms of investigation has been raised as part of the reasons why some of these high-profile cases do not get this kind of speedy trial that Nigerians will desire. So, in terms of, you know, gathering evidences and all of that, yes, we've seen a video, you know, that was released by the NDLEA. But is that all to actually, you know, prove a case of that magnitude?
The video is one. The dollars that he came to offer the NDLA officer as part of his own share of the funds is also there. I don't think the NDLA will want to divulge evidence more than just that of the video. You know, there should be other evidence that will be on ground for them to show when he's answering questions, you know, and all that. So I think with what we have seen and from the press release from the NDLA, I think the evidence are overwhelming.
Because, you know, this is it's of concern to me because we've had similar cases in the past.
Yes.
Where we will now hear that, no, the video was doctored, you know, it's not,
it's photoshopped,
it's not authentic,
sometimes.
you know, it's been tampered with, this and that and that and that. We've had all those kind of, you know, stories before. So I'm just curious about, are we sure that we are not about to hear that kind of story as well?
Let us look at what is happening in this very matter, you know. Let us see how it goes. Because for us that are sitting here, we have seen overwhelming evidence based on what the NDLA have released. If they did not have these facts, I don't think the spokesperson would have come out to begin to lay huge allegations against a police officer, though on suspension, of his involvement in a drug. You know what they said? They alleged that he belongs to a drug cartel that operates from Brazil, Ethiopia to Nigeria. You know, the link, you know. So that allegation is not small. So for them to come out to begin to say that, it means that they have overwhelming evidence to prove in court that the man is actually involved in what they are saying.
And you know, one thing of interest to me was the timing at which the pronouncement was made and the time he was picked up. It was quite very, very fast, you know.
Yes. He wasn't on the run. From my findings, he wasn't on the run. Just that when they extended an invitation to him, based on what the spokesperson of the NDLA said, that they extended an invitation to him on Friday, the 10th, you know, and he refused to come out. He refused to honor the invitation. And that as he's speaking, he has not honored the invitation and all that. So after this press statement, they are going to declare him wanted. So when they did that, I think they wrote to the police, or they informed the police, and the police had to go and arrest him. You know, for me, I felt that he would have honored that invitation on Friday. There was no need for him to not to honor the invitation. But it's more embarrassing now, you know, because he did not honor the invitation.
All right, well, thank you so much. It's been very interesting, really, having this discussion.
A lot of eyes, you know, on this situation, and we really do hope that turns out the way we are hoping to see.
Truly. Thank you again for coming on Daybreak this morning and sharing your perspectives with us. Well, we've been speaking with Stephen Okori. He's a security consultant and giving us perspectives on these recent happenings. Well, that will come to the end of Daybreak for today. Join us again tomorrow for another time on the program. You can always catch up on our social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think very soon we're going to do a giveaway for those who are following us on social media. That would be very, very interesting, you know. And also, we look forward to getting your feedbacks, you know, on our social media space. You can drop a comment there so that we can see and also pick it up. Well, thank you for watching. I am Ibelia.
And I'm Zainab Bala. Have a lovely day.